And away we go. It's just me at the moment. Eric said he'll join. He's just catching a train and he'll hop on in just a few minutes. Yeah, all that stuff. Anyway, just get on, get right into the news. Let's see what the first. King Charles expresses love for Canada in throne speech. King Charles III opened the Canadian Parliament in Ottawa on Tuesday, delivering the speech from the throne during his first visit as monarch. The event followed a nearly 70-year gap since Queen Elizabeth II last opened Parliament, and occurs amid tensions with the United States and concerns over Canadian sovereignty. Charles praised Canada's value of democracy, pluralism, bilingualism, multiculturalism, and self-determination, while outlining government priorities including protecting Quebec culture and the French language. He said the government will protect Canada's sovereignty and will rebuild the Canadian Armed Forces, warned that freedom and democracy were under threat. The speech reaffirmed Canada's unity and independence, signaling resilience against external pressures and emphasizing that the country remains strong and free. So, why do I where do I stand in this? It's mostly grey for me. On one hand, democracy is important and being able to defend yourself. But on the other hand, I'm also hearing not so good things about the inner operations of Canada, and as well as, of course, what Trump said about buying Canada or making Canada the 51st state. I don't want to be too harsh, despite terrible reception that is going on. The best we could do is just move on with life. Like, whatever happens with Canada, so what? It's going to happen anyway. And of course, the visit in general, again, can't be asked. At least they're doing something. It's better than sitting around doing nothing all day at the palace. So it's nice to go out to the fresh open air and maybe visit a country or two every now and then. So that's something. I'll give them that. And hopefully, more of that is to come to ensure that if it's a slow news day, there's always something to talk about, even if people don't ask for it. Liverpool parade driver charged with attempted murder was impaired, police allege. A 53-year-old British man was arrested on Tuesday in Liverpool for allegedly driving a vehicle into a crowd during a Premier League victory parade on Monday. The man was taken into custody on allegations including attempted murder, reckless driving, and operating a vehicle while impaired with drugs after he evaded police checkpoints by trailing an ambulance. The incident occurred as a minivan turned onto a cornered-off street near Water Street, plowing into fans celebrating Liverpool FC's record-tying 20th top-flight championship. Approximately 50 individuals, including 4 children, sustained injuries, with 11 patients currently hospitalized in stable condition. Authorities indicated the seriousness of the incident and suspicion of drug impairment in the driver. Merseyside police are not treating the case as terrorism and have ruled out other suspects, while public officials and King Charles III expressed shock and highlighted the city's strong community spirit. What does this achieve? I do not condone nor support actions like this whatsoever. Even if whoever who have been hit in the crossfire for sustaining such injuries, just why? It's just pointless and dangerous, but mostly pointless. The best you can get is attention, like we've seen here. And congratulations if that was the objective. For anything else, then you failed. miserably. Hopefully, those who were injured and wounded from the incident do make a speedy recovery, and something is to be done about this. Of course, it is not clear what the intentions were with that man. But whatever it is, come on, there are better ways of dealing with this. There is no need to resort such violence and devastation. You will learn the hard way if you do such actions. It's ridiculous. But again, hopefully those who were wounded and injured do make a recovery fastly and continue with life as usual. North Korea says US missile shield plans risk nuclear war in space. North Korea's foreign ministry issued a memorandum on May 27, 2025, condemning the US Golden Dome missile shield plan as very dangerous. The memorandum accused the United States of militarizing outer space, following President Trump's announcement of new missile shield details and initial funding last week. The Golden Dome system, modeled after Israel's Iron Dome, aims to counter missiles threats like ballistic and hypersonic weapons, but faces technical and political challenges. North Korea, a declared nuclear state, and China criticized the United States plan for increasing global security concerns and sparking a nuclear and space arms race. The US has increased strategic military assets and exercises in the region to deter North Korea, while Russia called the initiative a sovereign US matter requiring consult. I don't encourage any attacks on anyone else. However, it is important that one nation does whatever it can to defend itself in case of situations like that. I can't argue with defending itself in desperate times, but if it does result causing some kind of attack on civilians, then I think that's where I put the foot down. Other than concerns of security and safety for others, hopefully those involved do remain safe and, of course, no one gets hurt. Well, sadly that won't be the case with most nations, but one can hope that we can continue life without harm and live life in peace. Japan loses status as world's top creditor for first time in 34 years. Japan lost its status as the world's top creditor nation for the first time in 34 years, despite posting a record amount of overseas assets. Japan's net external assets reached 533.05 trillion yen, or 3.7 trillion US dollars, at the end of 2024, marking an all-time high, but were overtaken by Germany's 569.7 trillion yen. A weaker yen contributed to increases in both Japan's foreign assets and liabilities, but assets grew at a faster pace, driven in part by expanded business investment abroad. Although it's important to have foreign assets, you should still at least invest in your own native domestic assets as well. Because what would happen if whatever you have surrounding you is owned and operated by people that aren't even from your country? Not to say we shouldn't allow foreigners to invest in companies if they wish to, but we can't be too reliant on outside help. Because what if, one day, that said outside help disappears? How are you going to continue life? And I know not many people like to hear this, but money is what makes the world go round. And lack of it is quite concerning and will create for troubling times. Well, it's so sad to hear that Japan is no longer a top creditor of the world. It's still a top creditor, but it is not the top creditor. anymore. Whatever investments that Japan makes in the future, well, I know they'll do well. They'll do very well. They're smart people. They'll know what they're doing, and they know a thing or two getting into crime, and they know a thing or two about tackling major crises. So it's in the bag. US halts new student visa interviews as it weighs social media vetting. The move marks a significant escalation in existing efforts and has already prompted the administration to pause the scheduling of new student visa interviews at US embassies and consular sections worldwide. The Trump administration is considering a major expansion of its immigration vetting policies by requiring all foreign students applying to study in the United States to undergo mandatory social media screening, according to a report by Politico, which cited a cable signed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He's always in the news. Well played. Well played. However, it's not going to be enough. I'm not against foreign students coming over to study abroad. However, we can't rely on too many foreign students. I'm always saying something along those lines. However, it is true though. It is useful to have foreigners coming over to study and work, but they should never outnumber the locals, the residents that the nation currently has. And if that's what it takes, then wow, that's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate to have to come to this, but here we are. If it has to be done, it has to be done. I'm not defending the decision. This is how it's just approaches that has to be taken to ensure we just continue living life that we want to live. We can't have everything. At most, a few things can happen that we want in our favor. Egypt uncovers 3 New Kingdom tombs in Luxor's Thra Abu al-Naga, al-Naga AL, NAGA. Egyptian archaeologists discovered 3 ancient tombs of prominent statesmen on Monday in the Thra Abu al-Naga necropolis, Luxor. The tombs date to the New Kingdom period, around 1550 to 1070 BC, and were found through inscriptions and identifying their owners and titles. The tombs include one belonging to Amun-Ibhet from the Ramesside period, another belonging to Baki, a grain silo supervisor, and one to just S, a temple supervisor, writer, and oasis mayor. Egypt's Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, Antiquities, that's a new word I've never heard in my life, Sharif Fati, highlighted the find as an important scientific and archaeological milestone that is expected to enhance cultural tourism in the country. The findings arrive ahead of the Grand Egyptian Museum's expected full opening this summer, which will showcase over 100,000 artifacts from Egypt's ancient heritage. Well, every day we're discovering new and new stuff, which are apparently very old, and it just comes to show that history is buried. Most cases are buried until a few centuries later are discovered once again. EU approves €150 billion ASFE safe loan scheme to reinforce defence industry. On May 27th, 2025, the European Union officially endorsed the €150 billion safe loan initiative in Brussels, aimed at enhancing military expenditure and coordinated acquisitions across its member countries. The scheme responds to requests from member countries for funding and political backing to achieve NATO defense objectives. Amid increasing security challenges from Russia and Belarus. SAFE will raise €150 billion using the EU's AAA credit rating and loan funds to member states with 65% of weapons value required to originate in the EU, EFTA countries, or Ukraine under a 65-35 rule. Benjamin Haddad, France's minister responsible for European affairs, described SAFE as an important advancement that emphasizes prioritizing European industries and aims to decrease reliance on external powers, including the United States. The scheme, expiring, it sets a borrowing cap for large beneficiaries and may stimulate a unified European defence market, but funds will not flow until all parties secure their shares, reflecting a classic Brussels compromise. So it's happening. The European Union is establishing its own defence, or at least a department in the EU catered to defence. It's on the rise, and it is bound to happen. The question is, will it be enough to outnumber or outshine the United States military? No, at least not now, or in the following year. Maybe not even the following decade. But in a few decades from now, there will be comparable comparisons between the United States and the EU in terms of defense. So it looks ambitious, but it's a long, long way to go, and only one can tell what is yet to happen next. A headscarf ban in basketball is benching players in France. A bill to ban headscarves in all sporting competitions has passed its first legislative hurdle in the Senate, backed by right-wing politicians. Amnesty International stated that the bill specifically targets Muslim women and girls, excluding them from competitions from wearing headscarves. Supporters argue that the proposed law is essential for protecting secularism in France, a key principle of the French Republic. If enacted, France will be the only democracy to enforce a ban on all religious head coverings in sport, and the only democracy to ban religious head coverings in sport. That is something not many people will hear. However, I think Eric will have a say in this. Like, what's the point in having head coverings, and why are people catering to other religions if they haven't integrated to the country that they're living in? Well, I can't argue with any of that because, well, although it's important to understand where people come from and their cultures, it's also just as important that if people enter another country, they too should at least have an understanding of what the culture is in the country that they are immigrating to or about to live in. So when they do arrive, they don't suffer anything tragic. Surely nothing should ever happen. Surely nothing. But it's also it's at least good manners and also polite to at least acknowledge cultures of the nations that we live in and visit. At least when, and in case people does bring something up relating to their culture, at least you're ahead of the game and you won't cause some kind of defense due to lack of knowledge of where people come from. We should allow people to wear what they want. However, they believe it serves some kind of benefit to them. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, and also people can objectify to such ways of living, but at least to the best of their ability, try to go along with what they want. And if it doesn't work out, you don't have to be there. You don't have to even be in the country you're in. You can go to another country where their culture may be similar or doesn't have much restrictions that would otherwise be inconvenient for people from abroad. People have the freedom to go wherever they like and live wherever they like. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Georgia social media influencer who documented brain cancer battle passes away at 19. Wow, that is so sad. A young influencer from Georgia, aged 19, who documented her fight with brain cancer on TikTok passed away on May 23rd, 2025. And just to clarify, this is Georgia, the US state, not the country of Georgia in the Caucasus, like somewhere far eastern Europe. This is the state of Georgia in the United States. In September 2024, she received a diagnosis of an aggressive, inoperable grade 4 glioblastoma brain tumor. Fallon documented her emotional and spiritual cancer journey online, built a devoted following, and worked as a medical office receptionist. Her family shared the news of her passing on May 24th via TikTok, expressing that their beloved daughter had peacefully entered eternal rest with her Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. The funeral will take place on May 29th at the Galilee Christian Church located in Jefferson, and her journey emphasized how sharing personal health struggles on social media can have a significant impact. That is so sad. Cancer is such a bastard. Rest in peace. At least she's in a better place now. And also send her condolences to her family. No one should ever go through that. Ever. However, it's gonna happen. It always does. And although there is improvement in the research of cancer, and now people who do get it are less likely to die from it because there's already treatment to tackle it from the root down, it's not going to stop the deaths. It's not going to stop people from passing away from cancer, but at least there is improvement in such research. 4 Just Stop Oil activists jailed for plotting to disrupt Manchester Airport. Bugger. On May 27th, 2025, 4 Just Stop Oil activists, Indigo Rumblow, Daniel Noor, Ella Ward, and Margaret Reed were jailed at Manchester Crown Court for conspiring to disrupt Manchester Airport in August 2024. The activists planned to enter the airport by breaching the perimeter fence with bolt cutters and glue themselves to the taxiway as part of a global campaign demanding an end to fossil fuel extraction by 2030. The court heard that planned disruption would have caused significant delays and safety risks to tens of thousands of passengers, which the judge described as a highly organized and dishonest conspiracy. Rumblow was sentenced to 13 months in custody. Noor received 24 months, whilst Ward and Reed were each given 18 months. All were required to pay £2,000 in legal costs. While some defendants protested during sentencing, warned that billions face fatal consequences if urgent measures are not taken, and accusing the judiciary of being complicit. Despite imprisonment, the activists and supporters maintain their conscientious motives, warning the worsening climate crisis will drive ongoing protests regardless of legal consequences. I will say, their way of protesting, although stupidly dangerous, is certainly the most effective. Like, they're getting news coverage, like, everywhere. Like, every week, if not every month, people hear about Just Stop Oil. And even though Just Stop Oil have said, we are not going to continue with these out-of-the-box protests anymore, we're still hearing reports about them, about what they did during the time protesting to stop fossil fuels. It just comes to show that no matter how stupid or how dangerous, if it gets people talking, then you already achieved getting the attention that you want. It's not going to work out in the long term for sure, but at least someone is getting attention. Thailand is set to allow tourists to spend cryptocurrency using credit card linked platforms as part of a bold move to modernize its financial system and support digital assets. Deputy Prime Minister and Financial Minister Pichai Chunhavajira shared the plan during an investment seminar in Bangkok on May 26th. The system will let travelers pay with crypto while merchants receive Thai baht without knowing digital currency. The Ministry of Finance and the Bank of Thailand are reviewing the project, which will roll out once infrastructure and regulations are ready. Pichai said that this model avoids direct use of the Thai baht, helping protect the national currency. He also highlighted broader reforms, including unifying digital and traditional markets, modernizing investment rules, and boosting fairness in trading practices. Thailand is also introducing G tokens to help retail investors access government bonds through blockchain. Recently approved stable coins like USDC and USD Tether will soon be available for trading on regulated exchanges across the country. Well, I always keep saying this. Crypto is the future of money. And I know not many people are thrilled, nor they are the biggest fans of crypto. It's still going to happen. In fact, the UK government, I did talk about this a couple weeks ago, that my local MP actually written an email to me about the blockchain and crypto in general, and said that it is important that crypto should be at the forefront. I may have to look at the email again, because I know something along the lines of that. There's a there's a decent amount of people using crypto at the moment across the UK, and I've also seen videos on TikTok that starting January 1st, 2026, that any centralized cryptocurrency exchanges will have to declare, not everyone, but I think people that use crypto, starting from January 1st, 2026, have to declare whatever assets that they have in crypto. Meaning, people in the UK would start to be paying taxes for the crypto they have. Now, of course, not many people in the UK that hold crypto are so thrilled about it. They are certainly not. And this is exactly why people that are a big fan of crypto, they are going to Dubai, where there isn't much tax on income of any kind whatsoever. They have value-added tax, but there is no income tax in Dubai or any other Emirates in the UAE. And if the UK government actually goes ahead with this, UK adults holding crypto this year, like right now, the amount of people in the UK that would leave the country because of taxes on crypto. But who knows? We'll have to wait till the time comes about. So good on Thailand trying to at least adapt to whatever goes on in the world, and they will benefit hugely from doing this. So I can't argue that. Fair play to them. That the sooner the better. They're going to get pretty far with this. May not be popular with a lot of people, but at some point it will come down to the fact that we would be using crypto to like pay for stuff. Flix Trains looks to expand across Europe with 2.4 billion euro rolling stock deal. Flix Trains' announcement included a comment by German Transport Minister Patrick Schneider, endorsing the plans as a strong signal for the market. The German long-distance spot operator Flix orders 65 high-speed trains for €1 billion and wants to extend its rail route offer beyond Germany. Well, if they have the money, they're going to spend it. and they will spend it hard. Not as hard as the UK, because, well, they're known to spending a lot of things, and many things are very expensive there. But otherwise, well, with billions of money of somewhere, of some sort, they're going to spend it. And they're going to spend it at some place all at once. I'm going to make it glamorous to say, this is what happens if you spend $1 billion blank on this, and look at the results it's getting. It's not about spending. It's about spending well. If you don't, you could spend as much money as you like, but if you don't spend it wisely, it won't be as good as you think it would. So anything can happen. It's got to be very, very cautious. It's got to be very careful what goes on. But hey, if they want to expand the train network, do so. So long as there is some benefit, at least, for people in Germany or anywhere else in the EU. And yeah, poor Eric. He is still getting the train. Those dang Omnicards. India approves stealth fighter program amid tensions with Pakistan. Are we still talking about this? I thought it was okay. On May 26, 2025, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh gave the green light in New Delhi for the implementation plan of the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft AMSA, India's upcoming stealth fighter jet project. The approval follows recent military conflicts with Pakistan and growing threats from China, amid concerns over the Indian Air Force's shrunk squadrons and outdated aircraft. The state-run Aeronautical Development Agency will execute the project and invite bids from private and public firms to develop a twin-engine, fifth-generation fighter prototype. The first AMSA prototype is scheduled for completion by 2028, with plans to begin operational service by in the mid-80s, supporting India's goals for defense, self-sufficiency, and enhanced regional influence. The AMSA program aims to upgrade India's air force amidst the rapid technological progress of China and the sophisticated capabilities of Pakistan, underscoring the challenges India faces in maintaining strategic parity within the competitive regional military landscape. Alright, so firstly, I understand that India and Pakistan are very different cultures, and of course they have histories of not getting along, but good grief, just move on. And yeah, they're going to bring arguments like, no, but there's history, it goes way back. So what? So what, the history? Do you think people would care if people don't bring up the history at all? Maybe in the next few decades we don't talk about it. Do you think people still care then? The reason why conflicts happen and there's arguments between two sides, it always comes down to bringing up the so what? The past has already happened. It's not like it's gonna happen again, right? However, all I can say is, well, I can't argue with improving on upgrading a nation's military, but I just hope that no one gets hurt, or killed, or wounded, because that's the last thing we want. Like, we have too much of that already in the Middle East, or whatever is going on in Eastern Europe. The people are sick and tired of this. We don't want any more killings, we don't want any more tensions between two or more parties, because even they don't want this. And yet, people are still bringing it up. Like it's some big event that's going to happen. You might as well just put it in the bag. Just put the fries in the bag. It's over. If someone doesn't end it now, someone else will end it for them, and it won't be for their benefit. So may as well as put it aside, sort something out, negotiate some peace treaty, and then just continue with life. Because that's what a lot of people want. None of this fighting, the guns, the tanks, or the kabooms, like none of that. No one wants that. Wildfire damages Civil War area historical sites in New Mexico as campgrounds are evacuated. On Monday, a wildfire burned through Fort Stanton, a Civil War-era landmark in the southern region of New Mexico, prompting evacuations of nearby campgrounds and a horse ranch. The blaze spread into an area that once served as a World War II internment camp, and the cause of the fire remains unidentified, as an investigator from the BLM is set to start their assessment on Tuesday. Firefighters, including ground crews, air tankers, and helicopters, worked on contain the blaze amid mild weather and cleared vegetation on the fire's north side. Spokesperson Laura Rabin said 3 structures at Fort Stanton were damaged while the fire scorched about 1.4 square kilometers, including surrounding federal conservation lands. The wildfire remained a largely uncontained, highlighting ongoing risks near communities like Reduso, which suffered severe wildfire damage last year and remains vulnerable. It's very unfortunate that wildfires happen from all over the place, especially the eucalyptus plants. But enough about that. Just wildfires in general. It's awful. It's very polluting. Hello, Eric.
Hello. Still not, he's still not here, huh?
Nope, Risk is still not arrived yet.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I looked. Has the episode started already?
I've been recording for like roughly 40
Gotcha. Okay. So what are we talking about?
a wildfire damages a Civil War historical site in New Mexico.
Oh wow. Oh wow, that's crazy. Is there anything more about it?
Yes, a wildfire burned through Fort Stanton, a Civil War era landmark in the southern region of New Mexico, prompting evacuations of nearby campgrounds and a horse ranch. The blaze spread into an area that once served as a World War II internment camp, and the cause of the fire remains unidentified, as an investigator from the BLM is set to start their assessment on Tuesday.
I mean, it's always bad when a fire breaks out in any place. So my condolences are to the people and to the people who have experienced that fire or go through that fire or just even witness the fire in general. And yeah, it's like I just hope, I just pray that everybody when it came out safe. But ultimately, yeah, it's like I do think everything is gonna get. I hope everything will get better from here and like continuously try to thrive and if we go right. Yeah, pretty much that's all I have to say about that. Is there anything else in the news?
Yeah, rap metal legend delivers scorching three-word takedown of Trump at concert. Legendary rap metal guitarist took aim at President Donald Trump over the weekend and also defended iconic rocker Bruce Springsteen from recent Trump barbs at the Boston Calling Music Festival at Harvard University Athletic Complex on Sunday. Tom Morello of Rage Against the Medicine appeared in front of a screen that at one point projected pins and various graphics that spelled out Freak Trump or Fuck Trump, HuffPost reported.
All I'm gonna say is this, man. It's like I get that people don't like the guy, but it's like, bro, it's like at this point, I'm not gonna lie, maybe like in the early days, 2016, 2017, fine. It was cool to take aim at someone, just diss someone, or you know, whatever the younger generation. I'm acting like I'm old, but I'm only 22. Right, or whatever the younger generation says nowadays. But yeah, it's like, bro, it's like at the end of the day, he's just a political figure. Who cares? Like he could, like no political figure could get me that to the point where it's like it's just my whole world. I personally just stopped caring. I mean, the only time when people actually do care about a political figure is when the next election is. But every year, all year round, The only people who are their hardcore fans, they don't really care. I mean, what did he say? Does it state what he said specifically in the song?
I wouldn't know. I don't listen to him. Hold on. I need to
Doesn't
go
say his,
back.
doesn't say his,
Last name Springsteen.
oh yeah, no, I don't even know who that guy is. But I would assume that he's old. I would assume that the guy's older, right? Most likely.
Yeah.
Okay, that probably explains it. That probably does kind of explain it a bit. Yeah, it's like I don't know, man. It's like I just don't care. I don't really care for politics that much. It's like once again, the only time people actually really care about that stuff is when the election is, and even still, like I get, I personally get that you don't agree with the person, but at the end of the day, I don't think I can be that mad at a person. Yeah, it's like it's just,
And it was what it was.
yeah, exactly. I mean, ultimately, it's like it just depends on how you like perceive certain things and how you want to per se live your life. And most people live their lives off politics. That's like I'm not gonna lie. I think going what are those oh the first I forgot what it's called, but I'm pretty sure there's like a legislation of like for America of some sort. I forgot what it's called. Oh, the Declaration. Yeah, I don't remember, but I was gonna say like that's pretty much like the gospel in a way, because like people perceive their country as like their church, especially if they're proud of the country, and like whatever the rules are of that country, that's pretty much their gospel. But yeah, it's like it's what it's whatever. I mean, yeah, I I don't know why I can't remember the name, but it's like it just has something to do with like it being the rules of the country, like, but it's whatever. But yeah, it's like, is there anything else in the news?
Salesforce to acquire data management company Informatica in $8 billion deal.
Oh, nice. Let's hear more about that.
Salesforce agreed on May 27th, 2025 to acquire Informatica for about $8 billion, paying $25 per share to Informatica shareholders. The deal follows failed talks in April 2024 due to term disagreements and reflects Salesforce responding to activist investor pressure to improve profitability. Informatica, founded in 1993, provides AI-powered cloud data management and automation services used by clients like Unilever and Deloitte, complementing Salesforce's offerings. Informatica shares rose 5.7% pre-market to $23.82, reflecting an 11% premium over last Friday's $22.55 close, while Salesforce shares increased by 0.57% ahead of the announcement.
I mean, it's just another day, another dollar at the end of the day, and like it's just a company. It's another day, another dollar at the end of the day, and let's just hope that this is successful, and let's just hope it doesn't crash. But even if it did crash, they'd probably still have enough money to like fall back on, regardless. So, hey, good for them.
Good for
Good,
them, yes.
yeah, good for them. Gonna be making a ton of money, and even if they lose a ton of money, they can still make that money back regardless. Which is probably why certain companies don't like freak out when it's like whenever like Pride Month is ahead, because it's like even if they have to do this certain things for the sake of for the sake of the month, and they lose a bunch of money because of that month, they just have more money to fall back on. They just simply have more money to fall back on. They'll make that money back like the rest of the year around.
Very true.
Yeah, that is probably why. Actually, that is probably why companies don't like freak out, because it's like, yeah, there's gonna be an uproar. There's gonna be people who like just get mad about it, but they know that they'll make the money back all year round. that would just, I'm not really 100% sure if that's going to be their lowest month. They'll still make money, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like I can't speak for all like, big businesses and big companies. Whether regardless if that's their lowest or highest month, um, they're still going to be making something at the end of the day. Even if people quote unquote boycott the company,
Yeah. It's
like yeah,
still
they're just gonna
they're still going to continue their operations.
yeah. I mean yeah, they're just still gonna continue the operations, and ultimately speaking, they're going to they're going to just bounce back next month. And the people who were mad last month, they're probably gonna go back to the company next month when it's all over. Yeah. And speaking of which, it's almost that month, just in a couple days, but whatever. As for that company making a lot of money, good luck. But is there anything else in the news?
Germany to reassess arm exports to Israel over Gaza crisis.
I'm sorry. You said Germany to accept what?
German Chancellor Merz condemned Israel's Gaza strikes as no longer comprehensible, signaling a potential policy shift. His remarks highlight rising tensions over civilian casualties and arms exports. Merz's CDU-led government faces internal calls for restraint, especially from SPD lawmakers, warning of complicity in international law violations. Public opinion has also turned sharply against weapons exports to Israel.
Wow. How many people is this war even really affecting other than Gaza and Israel?
Well, you know what some people say? War is profitable, mainly in the arms and weaponry stuff. Hence why it's still going on, because there's still somehow profits being made, people like it or not. But whatever keeps the money flowing, they'll keep on going.
Well, that's true. Unfortunate, but true. You're right. So, as long as there's still money to be made, this war is going to continue to keep going, and this war is going to continue to keep getting worse for both sides, Gaza and Israel, because both sides are just both sides are just flat out determined to win this war. But ultimately speaking, I I have an opinion. I have a I have one belief on who I think is gonna win, but I'm not gonna.
Yes, very true.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear
Okay,
you, yeah.
okay. Yeah. Anyways, I was gonna say ultimately, yeah. What was I saying before?
I
Um.
wouldn't know, you were breaking up most of the time.
Oh. Okay. I think I was saying. Oh yeah, right. I think I was saying something along the lines of like, yeah. Both sides. I don't think it's gonna profit off of because it's gonna like be beneficial. But yeah. It's like also um even if I were to have an opinion, even if I were to have an opinion on who I think is gonna win, who cares? Like who cares? I'm still not gonna take a specific side. Dude, I've noticed a pattern with the people who take like Israel who are team Israel and people who are team like Gaza or Palestine. Most of the people who are like team Israel are most people who are like team Israel are like either Jews and Christians or like and people who are team like Palestine or like Muslim and probably other people other people mixed with that as well. But ultimately speaking, like there's a time from the Jew and Christian perspective, I can understand why because well, yeah, Israel is the holy land. Israel is a holy land, so it's like I understand that. And it's big, yeah. But yeah, it's like I don't know. I just do think this war needs to end. Though. I mean, it affects people in positive ways, but it affects more in negative ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know who's gonna win, but whoever does win, well, they'll win. They'll win with either like brute force or simply bribery of some sort, one of the two, but probably most likely brute force. But yeah, that's that. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Southwest to begin charging for checked bags on Wednesday.
Okay, let's hear more about that.
Southwest Airlines will end its bags fly free policy on Tuesday, May 27th, and begin charging for checked bags starting Wednesday, May 28th. Most passengers will be required to pay $35 for the first checked bag and $45 for the second. Certain passengers are exempted from the new baggage fees. Customers with top-tier status in Southwestern's Rapid Rewards program and Business Select customers can check 2 bags for free, and A-list members get 1 bag free.
Interesting. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, whatever keeps the money flowing, they'll keep on going.
I kind of line.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. uh, that's true though. That is true. This world is ruled by money, lust, partially love, but mostly lust. But the majority of it being money, and probably some other evil entities out there. Other evil entities out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know what? Money isn't evil. It just depends on the person who possesses it and their motives. You know, because frankly, success is not terrible. It once again just depends on the person, who's the successful person and their motives. Like for instance, you could be like one of the greatest actors in the world and be like a kind-hearted individual who helps out in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, it's like I wouldn't say put them on. I would say like a real humble person who's a celebrity. I don't know. I just think like like wouldn't be put on a pedestal on a pedestal of some sort. But I guess from a worldly perspective, I get it. Praise is great until it eventually stops.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, then like most people don't really know what to do with themselves if the praise stops, which is why they stay in the spotlight all the time. Speaking of which, Lil Nas X, what has happened to him? Actually, last time I heard of him, I think he got paralyzed from one side of his face. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible, but I wish him the best. I know what happened. You know, like but I'm not gonna get into that. The point is, I do wish him the best. But yeah, anyways, yeah, it's like I guess I conclude my point there. Do you have any thoughts?
Nothing else. It's just businesses do what they have to do, and even if people do get mad, they're still got to keep on doing it because whatever keeps the money flowing, they'll keep on going.
Yeah, that's true. And also, you know, I would say like compared to the people who are actually going to buy into it, that oversees the amount of people who are upset in a way. So it's like even if you're upset about it, they're not going to change unless there's like a huge uproar in person and on social media. Then they'll probably change back to whatever they were doing before. But if there's nothing like that, then like they won't have an incentive to like change back to what they were before if there's no reason to change back to what they were before or to how they were before. So it's like there's no incentive. If there's not an incentive, then there's no reason to change or make a change.
Very true.
Or the word being revert back to like what they were doing before. I believe that's the right word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. Is there anything else in the news?
That is us.
All right. Peace.
Peace.